Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for some more Dual Force, DC Dual Force. And we're loving some of these new cards. I've been having a blast. I hope you guys have been too. So as someone who loves to play the most competitive decks, I've actually had such a fun time, tinkering around, especially with Batman Who Laughs. But I can't leave out what I think a lot of the content creators have talked about, which is probably the most anticipated build for like truly like the meta and ranked ladder play and all of that. And we can't, overlook good old Morgaine Le Fey. This is a card that I was excited to see that I think, the community is feeling a little trepidatious about. And I get why, right? Because it is a huge, huge life swing on this card, right? And you're generating free spells ideally, right? Or even if you've got one free spell, one silver or bronze spell, something like that, it's a pretty huge life swing, right? -2 to both enemy leaders, +2 to both of our friendly leaders is a pretty big swing, especially when you know that we can play Smoke and Mirrors, right, with Zatanna. So today we are going to be playing a build that I'm just calling Spells or Nothing, and honestly, I've loved playing it. It's been so fun because we're not even really just talking about um just like control, right? This is I'm trying and genuinely have been having fun and feeling like it's pretty competitive with a like full spells package, and I'll talk about what I mean by that. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff helps me out a lot. I really appreciate it. And I hope that this is a deck that you guys can play and have fun with. I played a couple of mirror matches last night, and they're always kind of just wild because there's so many different things that especially Zatanna kind of brings to the table. So what does it look like? And obviously we're going to be playing, I think, some of my core favorite bronze recruits for both energy and tyranny. So I've got Ambush Bug. I still really like this card for being able to stay kind of on pace in the early game. Pedro Pena. This thing can sometimes hit like a truck when you've got a lot of free spells and free actions. So, and I just think he's a really effective blocker. So I still would play this card if you have access to it. Ivy's Flytrap. Just again, like I've said in other videos, one of the best bronze recruits and biggest reason to be playing Ivy in your build. The Riddler, even more card advantage. Although the cards are usually like a little awkward or maybe not the best, you're just getting free cards in your hand, and that can really make a difference in any sort of mid-range control matchup. Gift of Naboo, kind of a no-brainer. When you seek a magical spell, if you played a magical spell this turn, right, this then costs free. I know some people are running the book, which is like generate a magic spell if it's the first time you played it, put it back in your hand. I think both are good. Obviously, you get more spells if you're playing the book. But I've liked Gift of Naboo just because you can get those actions done a bit quicker because it is free. So I did lie a little bit. We're not running the entire spells package, but that's just because I have never really been impressed by, I think it's called Book of Destiny. So it creates a magical spell, and then the first time you played it, return to your hand. So essentially it says make 2 magical spells on the first time you play this, make 1 magical spell on the next one. I think it's good. I have always loved Gift of Naboo, just being able to play it for free. And it kind of does the same thing. It's 1 less magical spell that you end up with. But I think the tempo that you get from it is probably worthwhile. That's how I felt. But you let me know what you think in the comments. Deimos, still one of my favorite early game recruits. Hugo Strange, Timothy Hunter, Amethyst, all very typical for this build. So let me scroll us down a little bit. I'm running 1 of Culling, and I was thinking about this. I don't think I would ever want 2, but I kind of have liked 1, just because it does help with some of those like early mid game fights. You've got Deimos, which can actually put 5/5s in range of it. You've also got Mark of Cain, which you're running because it's a -3/-3, which is pretty fine as a removal spell. But then you create a magical spell in your hand, right? So you want to be running this, and you get rewarded for it. So I thought that the culling like has served as a nice little one of that is just like a little bit of another angle to helping you get to the late game. We're also running Madame Xanadu. No better reason to be running a 3/4 that makes a spell, which is a little underwhelming, than to have a bunch more spell payoffs in the deck. Lightning Arc, still an excellent removal spell. And I'm trying 1 Jason Blood. 2, I just feel like it's one of those cards where like drawing the first one, awesome. Drawing the second one, not sure if it matters. So I wanted to try him. I know there were maybe like some questions about like how he operates, but so far it's been functional from what I can see of like when you play 2 spells, he transforms into the demon form of Erdogan. And let me tell you, then my opponents need to clear this thing because it's going to be a problem. So that's just a really fun new card and addition to the deck. John Constantine is kind of back. I think, people have not been playing this card for quite a while since it got nerfed. You can still go off with it. You play 1 or 2 spells when you play him. And, even something like Timothy Hunter, becomes a 3/6, a 4/7. It's pretty nasty when it goes off, and it is kind of hard to deal with. So we're running John, obviously, because it's pretty synergistic. We're running one of my favorite removal spells, Indoctrinate, playing 1 of Cirque, which I think is good. I don't think I would want maybe 2 in the deck, but I think 1 is good. And it really makes a difference. I mean, being able to turn one of their bigger cards like a Lobo or something that I don't have an answer to right away into a 0/1 pig, and this is like some of the funniest art. I love that. It's pretty good. And so I feel like she has a little bit more of a home in the build now. Friends in High Places, I'm still toying around with, do I need this, do I not? In the deck, we've got 1 Dark Side, 2 Morgaine Le Fey, 2 Giovanni Zatara. We'll talk about that. So we've got some options to choose from, and I kind of like how Friends in High Places can set us up a little bit more well for the late game. So I'm trying it as a one of. Firestorm just has always been good with Zatanna because you have those free spells, and this thing can do a ton of work. Whenever you're able to play this and potentially kill a recruit or 2 recruits, or kill a recruit, deal damage to the face, Firestorm really ends up being usually like a 2-for-1 the turn you play him, and I think I would recommend it if you've got access to him. And then we've got our top end, and it's really fun. So obviously Darkside, I just want to be playing because I think it's a great card. But we're running 2 Blood Offerings. So seek a magical spell after a friendly card is KO'd, reduce the cost of Blood Offering. Now, we don't have all that many recruits, but we can generate recruits from both Ivy and Zatanna. Blood Offering, it says it's a gold card, but essentially it almost always ends up playing like a bronze card or a silver card. So that's why we're running it, because it's not really clogging up the top end. And Blood Offering I found pretty hard to justify early on, but because we've got more spell payoffs, I really wanted to try like the full spell package and see if it was good enough. And that's why we're going to be playing 2 Giovanni Zatara. I could play 1. I think that would be fine, but I do think that this card does so much work with the way that we're going like full spell investment. And just often is really hard to deal with for the most part, especially if you give it hidden and they can't get rid of it, then it's usually game over. And then we come to the big dog, the new kid on the block, Morgaine Le Fey. And again, it does so much work. It's a huge body at 5'8". It's hard to deal with. It offsets life lost. Like you can't really get too much more from a late game spell card in Tyranny. She's felt very, very good. And then we're running the 1 Appetite for Conquest, which is really just a nod to some of the Joker decks, aggro decks, stuff like that. That I still feel like I want to run 1 copy. So that is our spells deck. And because I know these games tend to be long, I'm just going to hop into a game right now, just so we can see a little bit of how it plays. And because it tends to be pretty, obviously heavy controlling deck, the games tend to go a little bit long. But it's just, I felt like Zatanna was one of the most fun leaders in the game, period. And just having even more reasons to play this kind of like magical spells roulette. You don't know what spell you're getting, but how are you going to use it, and what cards are going to get payoffs. So you've got John Constantine, you've got Cirque, you've got Jason Blood, you've got Morgaine Le Fey, you've got Zatanna. There's just so many, sort of just payoffs for putting a boatload of spells into your deck or into your hand. So I think it's the real deal. I think that this control deck, it's hard to say if I would rather play Ivy Batman over Ivy Zatanna, but I'm leaning towards Ivy Zatanna now. I think that Morgaine Le Fey has probably changed a little bit of what the top end of control actually looks like. Doomsday Adam. Okay. It's been a minute since I saw a combination like this. Right, I'm just going to ship everything back. Would like some bronze cards. Thank you. We got Morgan in our hand. Sweet. All right. We might actually get to play with her and show her off. It's funny. When I was first playing this deck, I literally never saw this card. Well, as much as I like Amethyst, we can play all 3 cards next turn anyway, and there's just plenty of X1s I may want to kill. So I'm just going to hold here, because I can go Amethyst, Hugo, and then gift him Naboo for free. Yep. Exactly. Exactly why I would want to hold. Oh, well, slight change of plan, actually. Let's just get these off the board. We can hold Hugo for later, definitely on Doomsday. Then why not go fetch another spell? I think it's got to be Nurgle. This card just ends up always being helpful. Especially if it's like Send in the Clowns, Gotham Riots, something like that. I feel like more people are testing those cards now than before. Okay, no other bronze. Pretty nice for us. Okay, let's see what we can hit here. We're going to use this Hex Possession. Actually could be good. I mean, at this point in the game, yeah, sure. Alright, well, let's just play Hugo, slowing down Doomsday. We're going to focus Doomsday for sure. And we'll make our Ivy plant and see what they got. Obviously, Nurgle might just sit in our hand now, but I'm not going to stop building out our board. Especially because we want to pressure Doomsday anyway. I do think that this deck probably still has a little bit of a hard time into like Doomsday Flash, like hyper aggro decks, because your recruits are pretty fragile. And, you know, aside from generating a unit off Savage Vines, you're not affecting the board too much. So, still think Flash Doomsday is probably at a good spot. I've also wanted to try Trick or Treat in Flash Doomsday, because both options are pretty good for you. So, I might have to be bad and throw up a video on that deck again with at least that new card. I don't think there's much else to add to that deck. Okay, well there it is. It's the old clowns. They're going to be able to clear a lot of stuff here. Okay, they're going to go for the double clear on Savage Vines. So I bet they're running Anton if this is kind of their setup. Which would be scary, but thankfully we've got Indoctrinate and Possession. Yep, and then I imagine trade here. Oh, Parasite, okay. Get to charge at him. Not bad. We've got Friends in High Places. Nurgle. So probably want to play Morgan next turn. Like Morgan plus Possession and whatever else we get off that. So I could Indoctrinate in Friends in High Places. Yeah. I feel like that's probably the play. Take that off the board. Friends in high places. We've got Morgaine. We could try the double Morgaine. And we can play this one first because it's bigger. We've got Dark Side. Yeah, let's give it a shot. We can play the big Morgaine next turn. Nothing. Okay. So are all gold cards? What is going on? Or like removal, I guess. Let's get a free spell here. Kind of doesn't matter what it is. Sigil of Power. What would I prefer? I guess Sigil of Power, sure. All right. Let's get the party started, I guess. So we can go... No, I probably want to save Duke. So we can do... I think it's probably actually just Morgaine into Madame Xanadu. And then... Yeah, just Madame Xanadu here. Or maybe I should have waited and put it here. Yeah, I guess we could just sigil on her. Get the proc. Yeah. Alright, let's get to gain some life here, drain some life. We've got a gigantic Morgaine Le Fey. Okay, geomantic protection. Let's see what our opponent does. They've got their Doomsday activation. Got a lot of spell options in our hand, which is sweet. We've got our second Morgaine as well. I think the foil is really cool too. Can't wait to craft that at some point. Oh, so I wonder what they could have. I mean, it's probably like, I mean, if they have the kill something with 5 attacker greater, that would be excellent for them. So just take out Morgaine. Yep. Deathstroke. Okay. That's a good one. Oh, and then... Yep, that's pretty good. Pretty dang good. Yeah. Okay. Gotta respect that. Blood offering. Well, it's pretty hard to pass up just nurgling here. And I guess I could deal the damage to Morgaine and get the life off. That's probably still worth it. Yeah. A Deathstroke was a very good answer from our opponent. And Black Adam may be going off this turn. I think it's pretty likely. But we'll see what we can do. I mean, gotta find a way to answer both these recruits. Okay, Parasite helps. Yep. And Whack-A-Man, yeah. Yeah, that's a problem, alright. Okay. You can take a dark side. Oh, what else do I want to do? Would I take possession at this point or free spell? I guess possession. Alright. Well, this is going to die, but gotta just eliminate that. Play an Ivy Vine. And then maybe possession can get us out of this predicament. Yep. Since Blood Offering is now free, I mean, if we could draw Zatanna, that would be a pretty good one. Deimos, sure. And nothing else. Okay. Huh. His possessions aren't doing a whole lot, I gotta be honest. Yeah, let's see what we can hit with Blood Offering. 5, 6. Pretty close, but I probably just want a Blessing anyway. Right, yeah. Could also make an Ivy Vine. I think I do want to heal her though. Smoke and Mirrors. Okay. That's a card. I think let's do this for now. And then Geomantic I could put here, or I could put it on Ivy potentially. I think that makes less sense though. Probably just want to chip in for 2. Trade here. Yeah. Still trade here. Then we'll heal here. It's not looking good though. I mean, our positions are kind of useless. I need them to play something that we can maybe use against them. Or Smoke and Mirrors, you know. Doctrinate, alright. It's a visual bug. This is definitely not still there. Okay, great, finally. Something I can sort of work with. That's good. And also it's a really good thing for me to copy. So that's not bad. So the question is, do I want a possession first? No, I think I probably just want to play Jason now. Play Jason, blocking for Zatanna. Make a plant. And Smoke and Mirrors you. Which buys us some good time here. And makes them commit more to the board potentially as well. And then we can maybe luck out with possession. Okay. Yeah. And culling, dang. That's pretty good. All right. Well, this is my only line. So it clears, and then this is 20. Yeah, we're not technically dead, but we're basically dead. Oh no. I think it's literally like we have to have Zatanna at the top of our deck, probably to win. Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay. Zatanna? Oh, no way. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Wow. Okay. Well, kind of got away with murder there. All right. Well, I'm sure that game was probably long enough. I think I'll cut the video there. Also, can't really top the top deck Zatanna to steal the game away. Um, but I guess while we just talk about the deck, I'll throw it up here so you guys can take a look. Yeah, so it probably needs some refining. I mean, maybe Book of Destiny would be good. I've also thought about Skeets. Like, I have generally liked this kind of card in control decks because then you can maybe get to your top end faster. Just have more options. The other piece would be just like, should I be running Hellfire? Although Hellfire got nerfed, for those of you who I'm not sure, I always call it Hellfire. It's Hellblaze. Now it deals 2 damage to enemy leaders instead of 4 damage. But it's still a good board clear, right? 4 damage to each enemy recruit, which is more what you're concerned with. But I don't know. I've just been having a ton of fun with this like spell heavy variant of this deck. I think there's a ton of ways you can build this deck. But so far I've really liked this general construction. I think Jason Blood is pretty scary. I think Morgaine Le Fey is nothing to discount. So far it really feels like this card is what's going to put this deck a bit more on the map now. It's just hard to understate how important it is when you have life swings like this in a control deck that already is trying to, kind of establish itself. So, and it's also just a lot of health that you have to deal with. So I think she's definitely going to be a bit more present in the meta. And it's just been a ton of fun to really try these variants that have like, you generate like as many spells as possible. So thanks for joining me as always. I hope it was fun to watch and sort of see that bit of a crazy game. Yeah, let me know what you think of where your build is going, and like, would you run all these spells? Would you change things up? Because I'm still learning and testing it out and figuring out what it is. But it's been such a breath of fresh air to have these new cards that have like their own niche and really kind of draw you away from some of the quote unquote, like meta decks. But I really do think that out of Batman Who Laughs versus, which I think is like, we've got that as a big addition, and Morgaine Le Fey. I think Morgaine Le Fey has really made it so Zatanna Ivy has a spot in the control meta again, because really they are the best, sort of combination, I think, to capitalize on that. So thanks as always for checking in, and I will catch you next time.